Hey everyone, I'm Cody Jason, and welcome to the Mutant Agenda. On this episode, we're going to be taking a look at X-Men Blue, issue number 31, and New Mutants Dead Souls, issue number 5. Let's do it. X-Men Blue, issue number 31 was written by Cullen Bunn, with art by Jorge Molina and color artist Matt Mia. It was lettered by Virtual Calligraphy's Joe Caramagna.
Ladies, gentlemen, you have been chosen to witness the announcement of a momentous event in the history of our planet.
So here we are again, you guys, another X-Men title, along with Gold, that has gotten really good right as it starts to fizzle out at the end of its life. This issue is an exploration of character. I've seen a lot of people kind of on Twitter and on the internet talking about how this issue moves too slowly or that nothing much happens, but what I want to point out is that it's an exercise in character development is what it is, mainly Magneto. We see a little sprinklings of Polaris and Havoc and addressing Havoc's recent switch from his moral compass being reversed, and it's sprinkled in between a story that is by far and away a Magneto story, and I loved that. He has some progression in this issue that I think is more controversial than people are really letting on. I think this issue is a bigger deal than we're talking about. We always have known Magneto as an anti-hero more than a villain. I mean, he was a villain in early issues of X-Men, and he's become a villain again, a hero, villain, hero. He's very wishy-washy, so honestly, I label him an anti-hero. That's just how I classify him. It makes the most sense in my head. And this issue is really pushing the issue, if that makes sense. It's a little bit of a redundant sentence, but forgive me. It's pushing the issue that he is this looser canon that people take him to be. People kind of take his trust for granted based on his actions in recent memory, but at his core, this issue is telling us that he's pretty unhinged. He comes from a place of so much darkness, and that can't just be reversed so easily. He's been hurt so much in his life, growing up in concentration camps, etc., and it has left a mark in his heart and in his soul, and that anger is something that he has kept in and continues to keep in when trying to do the right thing and work with the X-Men. But is it really his nature? That's what this issue is talking about. It's very compelling, and it is controversial, especially for big Magneto fans. Magneto fans like myself, I actually appreciate this turn. I think this could have a lot of payoff in the near future. A lot of people went into this issue hoping for it to be the confrontation between Emma and Magneto, and that seems like it'll be happening next issue. What this issue was really trying to do is bring him back to a place of villainy, but he's still so sympathetic, which is why he's one of the best villains that Marvel has to offer. While this issue attempts to bring Magneto back to a place of villainy, it also potentially offers to bring Emma Frost back to being a hero, as evidenced by her working with the X-Men, or at least the X-Men showing up to try to help her. She's reluctant to be helped out by them because they're the young X-Men, so she does keep belittling them, and let's be honest, how many of us haven't been belittling the young X-Men? Now what we have here are the young X-Men warning Emma that Magneto's coming to try to kick her ass, essentially, and she's telling them that she's not worried about Magneto, that she understands Magneto to a degree that young Scott doesn't seem to understand. She points out his kind of naivete in saying that there's a chance that Magneto would go off the deep end, because that's how they approached staying with him and working with him. It was the best way to keep an eye on him in case he did make that switch into villainy again. And Emma's just kind of laughing, and she has this great line where she says, "Darling, that man's moments of lucidity are mere breaths between screams." This writing was so good for Emma. This voice is the Emma I've wanted, and Cullen Bunn, you did a fantastic job with this line alone. Really sums up Magneto. Mere breaths between screams. It's fantastic, and it speaks volumes about how frightening Magneto is and how powerful he is and how much control it takes for him to keep that darker side of him down after the pain he's experienced in his life. That one line spoke volumes. I loved it. So for X-Men Blue this week, if you guys are just a casual X-Men reader and just want to see some mutant showdowns, pass this one, pick up the next one. It's going to be huge. I can feel it. If you like character development with the X-Men, definitely pick this one up. It has all of it. And if you're an X-Men devotee like I am, you're just gonna buy it anyway, so rock on, go you. Next up, we have New Mutants Dead Souls, issue number 5, which was written by Matt Rosenberg with artist Adam Gorham, color artist Michael Garland and Andrew Crossley, and it was lettered by Virtual Calligraphy's Clayton Cowles. This issue, you guys, this issue. We have so much to talk about. Oh my god, let's do this. This issue sees our team of New Mutants breaking into the Sanctum Sanctorum of Doctor Strange himself, and man, are there some breakthroughs here. There is a massive emotional breakthrough between Reign and Guido, and I'm not going to spoil it here because I really think you guys should be picking up this book. There is a moment between Reign and Guido in this where they're addressing a certain situation, and if you know what I'm talking about, you do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go pick it up. Go pick it up either way. But trust me, you're not going to want to miss this issue. This character development between them was nothing short of beautiful. While Reign and Guido share those heavy, hard-hitting moments in this issue, it's expertly broken up by moments of the best humor. We see Tabby going through the kitchen, just vegging on all of Doctor Strange's snacks, watching TV. She has some great lines there. And we see Rictor being torn apart by these sassy snakes. I don't read very much Doctor Strange, so if these sassy snakes are established in Marvel continuity, please comment below and let me know who they are. But I'm so thankful they were here and that they were ripping Rictor apart with their jokes and jabs at his appearance. It was great stuff. You look like a Gap had a baby with a Whole Foods, like addressing his little sweater vest and tie. Like it had me dying. So that's another highlight of this issue, the humor along with those hard-hitting emotional moments. They're balanced perfectly by Matt Rosenberg here, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite X-writers that we have out there. He's really showing his stuff in this, and if we move on to the art, we can safely say that Adam Gorham is also just skyrocketing to be one of my favorites. This is some of his strongest work so far, between his work on the staircases when Reign and Guido are chasing each other. It was so psychedelic, which is the word that I want to use when I'm talking about any kind of Doctor Strange book, event, crossover, whatever. I love to see that mind-bending, reality-warping shit going down, and you have it in spades here. The Sanctum Sanctorum is spooky, eerie, and whimsical all at once, just how you'd want it to be, and the New Mutants being like that paranormal investigation squad, it just works beautifully. This was a fantastic idea to end up here, and there's a great payoff at the end to talk about the plot, not to get too heavy into spoilers of what happens, but we basically get the gist. It's insinuated that Shan has been kind of using this team. She has ulterior motives, perhaps, and she hasn't been completely upfront with, you know, her goals and what she has in mind for this squad. And that alone is just the perfect hook for the next issue, which is sadly, I think, going to be the last in the miniseries, which is why I think it's very important that people go pick up this issue, show the strong sales for the single issues, show strong sales for the trade when it comes out, because we've seen it happen. Iceman's coming back because of strong trade sales, and I think we really need to prove to them that this book was something special, because I feel like it really has been. I also want to speak a little bit on the colors of Garland and Crossley in this issue. It seems to be sunset when we get to the Sanctum Sanctorum, with these kind of oranges, yellows, and moody reds, suggesting the sun is going down and we're at dusk, and it kind of suggests that they're here all night, because by the end of the issue when they leave, it looks like pure daylight. The way I interpreted it was that they were literally in this weird old mansion all night, which is just a fantastic plot line in my head, just to have them kind of have one of their weirdest nights. But also, I thought it was interesting that a lot of this issue is very, very warm. Even when we're dealing with those emotional breakthroughs between Reign and Guido, the palettes are very warm. I thought it was interesting that there's warm colors used inside of this mansion despite some of these darker themes, and when we get outside, even though it's daylight, it is kind of a colder daylight. We see some greens and blues for the first time in what feels like a long time, and to me it goes hand in hand with the revelation of, you know, Shan maybe not being honest with them. It seems like maybe the day has kind of turned to night on what they used to believe, and they're entering a new day of clarity. The sun has set on what they knew, to phrase it differently, and they're walking into a colder, mysterious daytime. I could be way off the mark, but I like to look at colors, and I like to think about them as setting moods and communicating silently, aside from the writing, and in my head, that's kind of the vibe I was picking up on. So obviously, I highly recommend this issue. I loved every single thing about it. It all felt strong to me. My only critique would be, while the humor is funny and on point and effective, I feel like it's very on point and effective right now. It seems like something that might immediately have a problem of dating itself. It drops some references like Harry Potter and Atlanta, which, you know, reading this 10 years in the future, which, you know, sounds like unnecessary to say, but I mean, I'm still reading X-Men from the 70s and 80s now, and I know a lot of people are, and I think that when you do get to those, it's kind of like, you know, it kind of gives you some pause. It's not a huge problem, it's just maybe my one critique that it kind of fell into that because it's something that Iceman fell into with being very topical, and while the humor worked, will it be as funny and will it be as effective down the road? Maybe not. Luckily, Rosenberg is so good at being, you know, flexible with his tones that you don't linger on it too long and your brain's already processing something else and taking you to a new place, so you're not fixating on that. But that was my one critique, is that little Iceman trap of being, you know, very, very relevant and funny now, maybe not funny later. But still, there's lots of good humor that I think will work regardless of time when you read this, so it really did make up for it. But enough about my thoughts on these two issues. I want to hear everything that you guys think. Please, please, please comment below. I want to open this discussion because I thought these were such strong, exciting issues that just have me so excited to be an X fan right now. We had some dark times, we've seen some darkness, but I feel like we're opening the door into that new day I mentioned earlier with some great X books going on right now. Get out there, get to your local comic shops, support them, buy this book. Comixology is another great source if you can't make it out. Let's keep supporting these X books, let's keep them on the stands, and let's support the little guys like I mentioned in the Madrox video. We love these smaller mutants, and we gotta show them we care. So go pick this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe for some more content. You know I'll be back, and I will see you next time. Peace out.